Hey everybody, I'm Scott Wikle. You're listening to My Kind of Country. Thanks for joining us on a Monday night. My special guest tonight has a brand new CD out, and they are very much in the tradition of Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys, Asleep at the Wheel, the Light Crust Doughboys, all that fabulous Western swing, and they are carrying it on in a fantastic way. The album is called Devil on My Tail. The group is called Hot Texas Swing Band. And it's a pleasure to have Alex Dormont here with me tonight to talk about this brand new CD and play some music for you. Alex, how are you tonight?
I'm great, Scott. Howdy from Texas.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you on the show tonight. I hope the snow has gone away down there now.
Oh, it melts pretty quick down here. But, yeah, that was amazing. We had, the most snow and cold weather that we've had since I've been in Texas Hill Country, about 40 years now.
Yeah, I was kind of laughing about that. I live in Michigan, and there for a while you were getting more snow than we were. So,
well, I have some Michigan connections you might not know about. My mother and grandmother were born in Michigan. My mother, Big Rapids, and my grandmother in UP. I went to Interlochen Music Camp as a child.
Did you really?
Right
wow.
Down the road there.
Yep.
And, I caught a big lake trout in Traverse Bay one time.
No kidding. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I live about 20 minutes from Interlochen Music School. That's really cool. Small world.
Yeah. So I grew up with snow. I know what snow's about, and I didn't expect to have it much in Texas, but there it was.
There it was. Well, first of all, tell me a little bit about how you got into the wonderful world of Western swing.
Well, I went to college, actually, in Wisconsin, and one of my buddies that I was in a band with, I was a fiddle player back then, is Ray Benson's brother, from Asleep at the Wheel, of course. And so he turned me on to Commander Cody and Asleep at the Wheel and Bob Wills, and it was love at first sight. And so I moved to Texas, because of that, and got to Austin in 1977, and within a couple of years, I joined my first Western swing band, Ace in the Hole. And then I had kids, took some time off from music, started teaching music so I could be at home, and then my kids grew up, so I started the Hot Texas Swing Band.
Wow, that's great. And how long have you guys been playing together now?
10 years now. This is our 10th year, our 5th album now you have in your hands there.
That's amazing. Devil on My Tail is the name of the album, folks. You can go to hottexasswingband.com. We will have that information on the Facebook page for My Kind of Country. You can get this fabulous new CD along with their other great music. And, of course, you can go to all the usual suspects that we get our music from, Amazon, Spotify. And I believe their music is available on all those sources, so you can get any of their fantastic music. Alex, tell me a little bit about some of the great players that are in your group.
Oh, I'd love to. Thank you. Yeah, we have 2 female vocalists. Selena Rosenbaum's been with the band 10 years now, and I love the way she sings. Our other female vocalist is Liz Morpus. She's been with the band about 8 years. They kind of split the female vocalist duties, and we have 2 harmonies there on the record, so I love that. Cat Clemens is our guitar player. He's a young one. He hadn't even turned 30 yet, but he's already a world-class player, as you'll hear, and I'm just real excited about playing all the music with him and his future. Our drummer is Ryan Neubauer. Our fiddle player is Billy Curtis, and we have 2 sax players also, Joey Colarusso and Stephen Vague, and then we have trumpet, Jimmy Shortell. Love that horn section. Bob Wills had a big horn section back.
Yeah.
In the late 30s in his band, and when we don't always have all the full horn section on the gigs, but we do have them all on the record. I do the arranging, so I write the parts out for them. I love to hear that big Hot Texas Swing Band sound. We have a guest guitar player on one of the tracks. That's Rick McCrae. He wrote a tune called "My Heart Will Always Be in San Antone." Of course, Rick grew up in San Antone. He's been with Ace and the Whole Band for 35 years or something. And he was our guitar player in the early days, and he wanted us to do his original tune, so he's a guest artist on his tune, and he and Kat have, dueling guitars. It's so amazing.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. Well, it's got to be a blast to have that large of a group on stage, and the energy that's got to come off of that stage has got to be amazing. But I'm sure that there's probably a lot of logistic drawbacks to having that many people out on the road.
Well, when we're on the road, we usually go with just five. Slim it down a little bit. But for big gigs in Austin, we'll often have a horn section, sax, trumpet, or sometimes we do just sax and fiddle. I love that big sound. Western swing is half jazz and half country, so we're well represented on the jazz side there.
Absolutely. It all really melds together. I learned that when I was real young. I listened to a lot of Merle Haggard, and he did a lot of stuff what I call country jazz. And of course, for many years, he carried a lot of former members of the Texas Playboys with him, and he was able to recreate that sound on the road. So I really grew up listening to that music, and it's just fun.
Yeah, it adds a spice of life for sure. Yeah, one of those guys is Johnny Gimble,
Yes.
who played with Merle a whole bunch. And, of course, Johnny was a member of the Bob Wills Texas Playboys, too. He ended up settling down in Dripping Springs, where I live here, and we did dozens of gigs together. And he's my hero. We put one Johnny Gimble tune on every record now. All five of them have a Johnny Gimble tune.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
He's totally everyone in the band's hero.
He is my very favorite fiddle player. I can always tell when he's playing. He had such a smooth, unique style, and I can always pick out his playing whenever I hear a recording that he's on.
Oh yeah, he made it effortless for sure.
That's for sure.
And he slipped a lot of jazz in there too. He did it so smoothly, people didn't even notice.
Well, which song did you do on this album? That's the Johnny Gimble song.
Yeah, it's the last track, Hill Country Sunset. Dripping Springs is in the Texas Hill Country, west of Austin, and he wrote it on his porch in Dripping Springs, and talked about what he saw, the mockingbird and the live oak trees and the cactus. So we always do that at every gig. It's a pretty waltz, so the dancers love it too.
Oh, absolutely. And I do want to mention your last couple albums, Ain't Dead Yet and Off the Beaten Trail, were both number ones in the Western Ways Western Swing album charts, and you've had a lot of great features like in Cowboys and Indians magazine, and he just had a lot of praise and a lot of great recognition, and it's certainly well-deserved from what I'm hearing with this music.
Well, you're too kind. Thank you very much. Yeah, we're glad that, to spread the word, and glad people are starting to hear about us.
Absolutely. Well, the new album, folks, again, is called Devil on My Tail. You can get it at hottexasswingband.com. It was just released here very recently, and you've already had some singles off of this, including the title song, that have done real well. Tell me a little bit about those.
Yeah. We released. We recorded it last year in October. The songs, most of them came to me right there in the summer, all in a rush. I had a lot to say during the COVID summer when we were all in quarantine. So luckily I got some songs out of it, and we went in the studio, and we had the CD, all mixed and mastered by December. So we decided, since we didn't know what the future held, with all the uncertainty, we decided to just release 3 singles, slowly and build up to the full album release. So we released Devil on My Tail December. We released The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly in January, and then we released Night Rider in February, and then here we are, full album release.
Oh, that's great. And you've written quite a few of the songs on this project. Tell me about some of your favorites on this one.
Sure. Well, there are 7 of my originals on this one. 2 I wrote before COVID, but 5 of them I just, like I said, wrote like in 2 weeks. They were all bunching up together. It was as a songwriter, it was magic time. Thank you to the Muse for visiting me. The Devil on My Tail is the title track, of course. So I started that one with just a few words and let this, I had a picture of a cowboy riding up a hill. So hat down, boots up, saddle tightly bound. And then I just, it was like Hemingway. I just saw where that cowboy was going, and the song just kind of wrote itself as it went on. The second track is Hill Country, Texas, and I'd always wanted to write a love song to Hill Country where I live, and and I wanted to write a song about Texas rivers, which are real special to me too, and I got them all in this one song. So those are the first two tracks. I wrote a waltz called Once Again. It's kind of almost like a British Isles ballad kind of thing, and the story is quite striking. There's it reveals itself. Let me say that way. And then Night Rider is track number 5. That came to me. My wife and I were vacationing in Oslo. Not Oslo. We were in Bergen, Norway. And in the middle of the night, I was awoken by a clamor, a sudden sound, and it was moving. And I wondered about it. And so I wrote a kind of a mysterious song based on that experience. Taking a Trip is track number 6. That's kind of a drinking song. And then got to have a drinking song in every album. And then Morning Green is one that I just wrote, and that's kind of a jazzy tune. It was a hopeful tune. In last summer things were looking pretty bleak, and my vision was the sun coming up, shining through trees. A new morning. Hope is on the way. So I wrote a song about that. Up the Old Chisholm Trail is the 7th original of mine, and that came to actually my wife and I co-wrote this many years ago. We kind of wanted a spoof song, kind of in the spirit of I'm an Old Cowhand from the Rio Grande. So we just kind of did Up the Old Chisholm Trail, kind of the modern version of that. Mm-hmm. So that rounds out my 7 tunes.
Well, you're an excellent writer, and I absolutely love the music. And I got a kick out of the looking at the back of the CD with the credits, and you're credited as vocals, bass, and whistling. You don't see that very often.
Well, I have had a chance to whistle a lot more lately. I'm doing a lot more single shows since we can't have too many musicians on stage, and instead of a fiddle solo or a sax solo, I just whistle instead. And so. I that carried through to the record. There's, I guess, probably three songs where I whistle a little bit. It came in really handy on The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. We did that as a tribute to Ennio Morricone, the composer of the theme song from that movie, right? Yeah. And he just passed last year, so it works well whistling. Of course, we have the recorder and the guitar and the trumpet and everything else. So that was a really cool tune to record. We got to do layer upon layer there. We even recorded marching in the gravel outside of the studio to get the that sound. We were all very creative.
I love it.
If you listen closely, you'll hear a lot of layers of detail.
Absolutely. And one of the songs I wanted to talk about is, and I love the title, it's just called Undecided. Yes.
Yeah, that's a great old jazz standard that, let me see, I guess it was Louis Armstrong and Ella Fitzgerald did a duet of it. And in Austin, there used to be a band called Uncle Walt's Band. Walter Hyatt was the leader of that band, and that's when I first heard it. It's always been one of my favorites, and we do it live, and it's always been a big hit with the dancers. It's kind of an up-tempo polka thing. And Selena sings the heck out of that. She and Liz, I'd love to hear them sing.
You got some great vocalists on here, and that's one of the things I like about your group. You've got, obviously, just power instrumentation, but the vocals, they just stand right up, and I just absolutely love every single song on here.
Oh, you're so kind. Thank you, Scott. Yeah, I like a variety in the vocals. Asleep at the Wheel, when they first started out, they had a couple female vocalists, Chris O'Connell and Marianne Price, of course, and Ray Benson, Leroy Preston used to sing a bunch. So I kind of like the collaborative effect of more than one singer.
Yeah, it's like having a whole bunch of different groups all in one,
Exactly.
Well, I know we're in strange times right now, and things are kind of starting to open back up a little bit, but tell me what's on tap for you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we do have a few gigs. They're all outdoors, and safe. The band won't play inside of a crowded bar yet, but we got coming up here. Let me see. We've got Luckenbach, Texas. You may have heard of that place.
Yeah.
They're having they're having a festival, so we're playing there a week from Saturday. That's a great spot. We have regular gigs there most of the year, but this one is a festival, and it happened to fall into just a really good time period for this new CD. We play at some local breweries. There's one called Vista Brewing in Driftwood, and right next to Dripping Springs. We play there April 4th. And, we got a Treaty Oak Distilling gig. That is a fabulous distillery. They make whiskey and gin, and that's in Dripping Springs. That's at the end of May. So, if the people go to our website, if they're down in the area or they're traveling here, they can find us that way, hottexasswingband.com.
All right, make sure you check that out, folks. We will have that information on our Facebook page for My Kind of Country as well. Devil on My Tail is the name of the new album. We're going to play some of those great songs for you right now. And Alex, it's been a pleasure having you on My Kind of Country. Thank you so much for taking time.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate you spreading the word and supporting great music.
Up, saddle tightly bound. Time to make time by nightfall. Headed for the pass on rocky ground. Hard ride, steep ride, no easy path is around. There's a devil on my tail, behind me on the trail. I've got evidence that'll bring that outlaw down. Climbing on up, oh so surely. Just over the pass there's a town where there is a judge to fight evil, and truth and justice can be found. Up ahead a light shines to uphold the law. I'm courthouse bound. The long nightmare is almost over. It's time to face that devil down. Steps of the courthouse, all the citizens and judge are around. Together we'll stop the reckless rampage of the outlaw who's destroyed so many towns. Jury trial, guilty, lock him up, he's jailhouse bound. The long nightmare at last is over, and finally we'll all be safe and sound. The long nightmare at last is over, and finally we'll all be safe and sound.
Today on Hill Country, Texas, thunder is echoing against the stone. Water rushing down the limestone ledges fills the creeks and rivers that I love to roam. My Hill Country, Texas home. Sweet springs are bubbling up to meet the river. San Pedro, Comal, and Barton Springs, clear crystal pools and rippling rapids, cypress and live oak line the banks of Loam. My Hill Country, Texas home. Big rain today on Hill Country, Texas. Thunder is echoing against the stone. Water rushing down the limestone ledges fills the creeks and rivers that I love to roam. My Hill Country, Texas home. Mesa, Sabinal, and cool Frio, carving out the canyon since time unknown. My hill country, Texas home. Big rain today on hill country, Texas. Thunder is echoing against the stone. Water rushing down the limestone ledges fills the creeks and rivers that I love to roam. My hill country, Texas home. Big rain today on hill country, Texas.